Some storms don't come to break you, my friends. They come to wake you up. Let that sit for a second. Because maybe you've been asking yourself, why hasn't it happened for me yet? You did what everyone told you to do. You tried to be warm, but not too much. You smiled without looking desperate. You dressed with care and prayed someone would see past the surface and into your soul. You held back. You waited. You gave yourself carefully. Or maybe you didn't wait. Maybe you gave freely, hoping that this time it would turn into something real. But still you were passed over, still unseen, like a beautiful song playing with the volume all the way down while the whole world dances to noise. And quietly, in your most honest moments, you start asking yourself, am I too much, too deep, too soft, too late? What is wrong with me? Let me say this clearly and without apology. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply in a season the world doesn't talk about. The season where the body goes quiet because the soul is getting ready to speak. And that silence, that stillness, it is not a punishment. It is a preparation. Stay with me, because what comes next is not about tricks or tips. It is about truth. Most people think silence means failure. They will say she must be giving off the wrong energy. They will say she needs to get out more, try harder, be more open. But what if the silence isn't rejection? What if it is a redirection? What if something deeper inside you is whispering, not yet, not him, not like this? Think about that for a second. Because nobody ever told us the whole truth. They gave us a map full of shortcuts instead. Be prettier, act unbothered, flirt but don't feel too much, stay interesting but not too serious. They said if you played the game right, love would show up on your doorstep, but nobody warned you that real love doesn't come knocking on doors that haven't opened for themselves yet. Here is a picture that might help you see it differently. Imagine a garden in winter. Nothing looks alive. The trees are bare, the ground is cold and hard. But beneath all of that, something is moving. Roots are growing stronger. Seeds are waiting for the right light. That is exactly where you are right now. You are not empty, you are loading. And that loading phase, that stillness, it actually scares people. Because a woman who does not chase, does not beg, does not jump into shallow water just to feel something, she becomes something different, something powerful. Not because she is closed off, but because she has finally started protecting her fire instead of handing out the match to anyone who walks by. So if you are in a season where you are not dating around, not being chosen, not receiving the attention you once craved, do not read it as rejection. Read it as refinement, because the woman who learns to hold herself through silence becomes something no one can ignore when she finally moves. You do not need to be chosen to have value. You do not need a message to feel worthy. What you need is to hear yourself again. And that only happens when the noise dies down and you stop filling every quiet moment with someone else's opinion of you. What is coming next in this message is not strategy. It is not seduction advice. It is an awakening. We are going deep, we are going real, and we are leaving nothing behind. If something is already stirring in you right now, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Not just to support this space, but to commit to the version of you that is finally rising. You are not behind. You are just beginning. And beginning, real beginning, is one of the most powerful things a person can do. Here is the first part of the truth. You have felt invisible, and that ache of being overlooked is one of the hardest things to carry. A diamond does not shine in the dark because it wants to be ignored. It shines because it was built for a pressure that most things cannot survive. If you have ever felt invisible, this part is for you. You have sat in rooms where your laughter didn't land. You have posted something from your heart that went unnoticed. You have watched people around you fall in love while you sat quietly wondering when it would be your turn. You worked on yourself. You read the books, listened to the advice, fixed your mindset, set your boundaries, healed what you could, and still you were overlooked. And after a while, that starts to ask questions you do not want to admit out loud. Am I not attractive enough? Is love just not meant for someone like me? But here is what no one ever told you. You were never meant to be background noise in someone else's life. You are the song that only the right ears will ever truly hear. Think of a lighthouse standing in a storm. It does not go dark because no boats stop today. It does not blink out because ships pass by without docking. It keeps shining because its purpose is not to chase anything. It is there to guide the ones who are ready. That is you. You feel invisible not because you are lacking, but because you were never built for shallow spaces. And not everyone is prepared to meet a woman who is no longer waiting to be seen, but has started seeing herself. So stay with me, because next we are going into the part where the shift begins inside you, not around you. There comes a day when something changes. It is quiet. There is no dramatic announcement. You do not post about it. You just pull back, not out of anger, but out of clarity. You stop responding to late messages from people who never asked about your soul. You stop rehearsing your texts. You stop trying to force something with people who only meet you halfway. And the world around you starts to feel the difference. People start asking if you are okay. They say you used to be more social. They tell you to put yourself out there again. What they really mean is you are making us uncomfortable by not performing the way you used to. But they do not know what is actually happening. This is not a strategy. This is your inner self finally taking control. This is the part of you that has been exhausted from auditioning for roles that were never meant for you. One very wise thinker once wrote that the person who looks outward is dreaming, but the one who looks inward is waking up. And when you started pulling back, that was your waking up beginning to whisper. The truth is, you did not stop trying. You stopped twisting. You did not close off. You began to open, but inward toward yourself. And yes, some nights the loneliness is loud. You scroll and see everyone else seems to have moved on. You wonder if love is a game and if you are losing by not playing. But hear this. You are not broken. You are breaking a pattern. The cycle stops with you. You are no longer living for the high of being wanted. You are learning to want yourself quietly without needing an audience for it. Now we go deeper. And this part is the one that people avoid the most. When the noise fades and the distractions dry up and no one is texting and the attention is gone, a voice shows up. And it is not always kind. It whispers things at 1 a.m. Why didn't he choose me? What did she have that I didn't? Was I too much, or was I just never enough? It replays old conversations. It highlights moments you gave too much and got too little back. It is a loop that runs when there is nothing left to perform for. But here is what most people will not tell you. That voice is not your enemy. It is a signal. It is not weakness rising up. It is the buried part of you trying to come back. The version of you that got quieted down while you were busy learning to be chill and low maintenance and desirable and unbothered. She is not falling apart. She is returning. Thinkers who study the mind call this the shadow, the parts of your truth that got packed away to fit into what other people needed you to be. The version of you that got edited out because she was too real, too loud, too much to handle. But your shadow is not there to destroy you. It is there to save you. It still remembers what you actually want, not what you settled for, not what you were trained to accept. This part is hard. Because when you stop blaming others for not choosing you, you have to look at the version of yourself that kept offering her worth like it was something to be negotiated. But do not run from this moment. This is where the real work lives. Not on a date, not in someone's inbox, but right here, in the quiet, with just you. And the woman who faces this part of herself does not just attract something better. She becomes it. Now here is the part that cuts closest to the bone. You don't always miss him. You miss the version of yourself that felt wanted, even when it wasn't real. Sit with that for a moment, because we all say we want love that is genuine and deep. But sometimes what we reach for is the familiar, the late night message from someone who never asked how you were really doing, but still made your phone feel like it mattered. The flirtation that meant nothing, but felt like electricity in the moment. The almost relationship that gave just enough to keep you hopeful, but never enough to keep you held. And now in the quiet, the hunger creeps in. You miss being touched, even by someone who never really saw you. You miss being talked to, even if it was only when they had nothing better to do. You miss being chosen, even if the person who chose you wouldn't stay. And I want you to hear this right now. You are not weak for missing the wrong love. You are human. You were designed for connection. And your heart does not stop to calculate logic when it is starving for presence. But what you are missing is not him. It is the feeling of being wanted. The illusion of being enough, even briefly. That ache is not loneliness, that is withdrawal. And the truth is, you do not want him back. You want yourself back. The version of you that did not overthink every word. The version that was not decoding mixed signals like a full-time job. The version that did not shrink to keep someone comfortable. That hunger is not for a person. It is for your own return. Because once you truly taste your own worth, real worth, not the kind that comes from being picked, but the kind that comes from knowing yourself, you will never again trade it for almost. And now we arrive at what I want you to understand about the season you are in. The world calls it a dry spell. People see it as something wrong, something that needs fixing. But what if this is sacred ground? What if this is a vigil? A vigil is a time of watchful waiting, a time of holding something precious, and no one applauds a vigil. No one throws a party for the woman who has chosen not to give herself away to something that was never going to stay. You did not plan this season. Life handed it to you, one heartbreak at a time, one ghost at a time, one almost but never truly moment at a time. And now you are still here, still standing, still quiet, wondering on the hard nights whether this is strength or just loneliness wearing a stronger mask. Let me be honest with you. This road has cost you things. It has cost you easy company. It has cost you the comfort of being with someone, even someone wrong. It has cost you the ability to explain yourself without being judged. But here is what that cost has been building. Space. Space for your own voice to come back. Space for your body to stop giving without receiving. Space for your soul to walk back into the room. And yes, the world will not clap for this kind of strength, but the woman you are becoming will. Every time you did not go back to someone who loved you halfway. Every time you turned down a message that used to make you feel wanted, but really just made you feel used. Every time you sat through a quiet night without breaking your own values. You were not being passive, you were being present. And presence, real presence with yourself, is where everything changes. Because here is what happens next. One day, quietly, without announcement, the ache is gone. Not because someone finally chose you, not because you numbed it out, but because you stopped looking outside for something that was always meant to be built inside. The hunger you once had, the desperate desire to be wanted, to be called beautiful by someone who didn't even know your soul, it fades, and in its place something different grows. You don't want to be chased anymore, you want to be met. You don't need someone to make you feel alive. You want someone who recognizes that you already are. This is the shift. This is where the longing becomes discernment, where the attention you used to crave now feels like noise you don't want near you. Where you stop asking, do they want me, and start asking, do they even have the capacity to hold what I carry? And this, my friends, is where everything you went through starts to make sense. The silence cooked something in you. The withdrawal refined something in you. The longing stripped away what was never real and left only what was, and you are no longer looking for sparks. You are looking for something that expands you, someone whose presence does not just excite you but makes you more yourself. The old version of you wanted attention, this version wants alignment. The old version needed proof, this version is the proof. If people around you are saying you have changed, say thank you, because you have. From empty to full, from desperate to discerning. You no longer chase warmth from other people. You carry it in yourself now. And here is the final truth I want you to hold. Not being chosen was never the tragedy you thought it was. Every time someone passed you by, every time you were overlooked or ghosted or almost loved but not quite, the universe was saying something. Not here, not small, not this version of a life. You were not made to be someone's backup plan. You were not designed to be tolerated. You were built to be recognized. And yes, I know that is hard to hear when you are in the middle of the waiting, but every rejection was a redirect. Every door that closed was protecting you from a room that was too small for who you were becoming. The woman who learns to carry herself through being unchosen becomes something rare, not because she is unavailable, but because she is whole. You can no longer be pulled in by breadcrumbs. You can no longer be baited with temporary comfort. She does not fall for almost anymore. She moves with certainty, and people might call her intimidating. But that is just what wholeness looks like to someone who has never seen a woman who doesn't need permission to take up space. So here is the woman who comes back. She is not coming back hungry. She is not walking in looking for someone to complete her. She is not asking to be seen. She is walking in full. And the fullness is not loud. It is not showy. It is just real. The kind of presence that shifts the air when she enters a room, not because she demands attention, but because she no longer needs it. She is not half a person waiting for a better half. She is complete, and if love shows up now, it will be met by a woman who does not ask, do you see me, but asks, can you meet me where I already stand? This is what the whole journey was building. Not a performance, not a strategy, an arrival. She does not love from a place of emptiness anymore. She loves from overflow. And yes, she has changed. Of course she has. The woman who walks through the fire of being unseen and still comes out knowing her worth, she does not come back the same. She does not beg. She does not chase. She chooses. And when she walks into love now, it is with clear eyes and steady hands and a heart that no longer shakes at the thought of being alone, because being alone is no longer her fear. It is just a season she has learned to live inside without losing herself. Press that like button if this message is landing somewhere real in you. Subscribe if you have ever felt unseen but knew deep down that something in you was becoming something rare, because you are not behind, you are not broken, you are being rebuilt this whole time. And the woman who rises from that kind of silence does not come back needing love, she comes back embodying it. Share this with another woman who is walking her way home in the dark. The world does not need more perfect women, it needs more awakened ones. Stay grounded, stay glowing,